All right, we are going to be creating automatas, which are a super awesome kind of like toy kinetic sculpture object. So your first step is going to be to get a piece of long cardboard that we'll make a frame out of. I'll have some pre-cut, or we can cut other pieces so that you can make it the size that you would like it to be. Mine's going to end up being about 6 inches square. So I'm taking a ruler then, and I measured out and made marks every 6 inches on both sides, so that I can then make a mark vertically for me to score my cardboard in order to then fold it. So I'm going to do that and make a mark at 6. So 6, 6, and all the way down. And I'm going to end up with some extra, which is good because I'm going to need that to reinforce the frame on my sculpture. So I'm going to take an X-Acto knife then, and I'm going to score the cardboard so I can bend it. So all I'm doing now is taking my X-Acto and pushing in slightly on each of these lines. And I'm using a ruler so it can be more exact, just helpful as well to cut. And I'm going to have one extra piece way down here that I'll end up cutting off to create little triangles to reinforce. So now that I've done that, I can easily bend this onto that line. And, and this will start forming into my box. So you'll start bending this around on each line, like so. And you will then have a nicely created box, which will be the frame for your automata. So I'm going to cut this off now and the end here. And when you cut, you got to make sure that you're either using a piece of cardboard, such as like the back of your sketchbook, or a cutting mat, because we certainly don't want to scar up the tables. So I'm going to cut one of these off. So I have 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to actually keep this score line here, and I'm going to cut it off a 1/4 inch over so that I have a tab to glue it on. So I did 1 cut, 2 cuts, then I feel that it went through. So now it comes off nice and easy, and I have the start of my frame. So then I'm going to take regular glue or some hot glue, fold this over, and I'm going to glue this on with my tab so it stays on nice and solid. So after you get this put together, and I'm just going to tape it for now. So I'll just use masking tape as a temporary solution, and then I'll use some hot glue to attach this in a little while here. But I'm just going to tape this over, just keep it together for now. And then I'm going to cut some reinforcements to make this so it doesn't wobble back and forth. So all I'm going to do then is I'm going to cut corners off of each of these. So the easiest way to do that would be with some cardboard scissors. So I can just trim that off and then cut your pieces off for the corners. Now I want to make these the same size because I want this thing to look good. So I'm just going to cut. Actually, I think I just need 1 for each the opposite corners. That'll reinforce it well enough. I'm going to make this big enough. Do that. And I'm going to line this one up on the opposite corner because I want this to be the same so that it looks good as well as works well. So I'm going to do that. Then I'll go ahead and cut this. Now I have my 2 pieces of cardboard, my triangles, that I can now add. And I'm just going to hot glue these into the corners, because then I'll have this nicely reinforced box to get me started for my automata creation. So that's step 1 for making the box, is really just to get this thing nicely reinforced and the right size. And certainly when you make this, you want this to be the right size for what you're going to ultimately have poking up and through it, because we're going to add this inside of it to rotate. And we're going to have things coming up vertically that will bounce up and down out of the top of it. So you want to make this as wide as you need it or as tall as you need it to have the interesting sculptural aspect of what things you're going to have in it as well. So after this, we'll move on to step 2.